Hey guys, Rich here. Today I'm going to be bringing you a little walkthrough and review of Pulsator Sound's new instrument called Detonator Rage, which is focused purely on trailer writing. So for me, a trailer writer, hello, this means lots of fun new toys. So before I go on and dive deep into the instruments, there's a couple of things that I always think about when I'm getting a new or trying a new instrument. The first one is, does it inspire me? Because this is why I buy a new sample libraries, to inspire me to keep writing. And that is a really important thing. And I always hold Spitfire Audio's soft piano as the touchstone, because I bought that library and I wrote 5 albums of music immediately. I say I bought it, it was a £2 donation. But immediately after having it, I played it and I was like, oh my God, I've got to write music. And that's exactly what I want to look for when I buy it or get a new sample library. I want to get one that goes, hey, this is making you want to write music. So that's really important. The next one, is it easy to use? I'm not a huge fan of tons of knobs and whistles and bells and all sorts of snazzy things. I like to do a lot of mine within the DAW rather than actually within the instrument itself. And if I do have to do it in the instrument itself, is it easy to use? Do I have to know synthesis to understand this? And then the other one would be, does it take up a lot of RAM? Because when you're writing training music, you'll have upwards of 60, 70, possibly more than 100 tracks running at the same time. So you don't want to have something that's going to be sucking your RAM from your computer. And the last one, does it suit me in my style of writing? So those are the things that are kind of going in my head. Now, whenever I get a new library, the first thing I do is I explore. I look and see what I've got. Okay, so this instrument has, here we go, performance tool, tonal hits, trailer elements, trailer impacts, trailer tonal tonal hints. So I'm going to load up I've already loaded up the performance tonal hits. Now, if I'm honest here, I'm not entirely sure what the difference between a lot of these impacts are, but let's dive in a little bit and see. So we can see that I've got 2 areas to load in samples, which is pretty sweet. Let's turn down a bit. So obviously this blue bit here is going to be this left sample, and this green bit here is going to be this right sample. And then down here, I presume, is key changing. Yeah, there we go. So you can also change the root note of the sample you're using, which I think is actually a really nice touch. Now, so obviously this is tonal hits. Yeah, I mean, these are pretty useful in and of themselves. I'm not a huge fan of out-of-the-box hits like this, because it doesn't suit my writing. So I would look to this and I'd say, okay, let's drop down. Wow, they have loaded this with a huge amount of samples. So let's just have a little explore, because oh, nice. Oh, there's a lot of fun you can have here with this. So I'm just going to stick with this first one. I mean, obviously, let's turn this one up. This one's a little bit quiet. So immediately you've kind of got a playable intro of a trailer, which great. However, if I was to get this, if I was to be using this, I'd be like, okay, how can I make those sounds my own? Which is really important. Or at least, how can I try to make them my own? And that's where they've got these lovely dials and sequencers, and they've even got lovely little effects page. So I'm going to have a go at excuse me, manipulating these sounds, which is what I like. Oh yes, I like that. That's actually the hit sub booms thing here. That's pretty sweet. So let's turn on the sequencer, and I presume, yeah, there we go. I have to input the information for it to work. Let's do this like this. So it's I might even put it. No, let's go down to 16th. Okay, sequencer's on. What does macro do? Oh, I like the macro button. Okay, so already I've kind of made this my own. In that, what I'm trying to think is, okay, if I was to use this, if I had this sample just loaded into Logic, what would I do to it? And one of the things I pretty much always do to a sample is to smush it, which macro has done. Okay, so let's, oh, hello, we've got some reverb. I like long reverb, please. Let's make it really wet. Ooh, see, now this is already kind of more like my sound world here. They're kind of like the darkness. Okay, but the one thing here is, the thing I'm interested here is they've got sequencers on all of the effects, which I think is a really nice touch. So if I turn on the sequencer and don't input anything, it doesn't do anything. So there we go. Oh, this is pretty cool. Okay. Yep. Okay, so I see what it's doing. It's just cutting, putting a sequencer on the sound. Doy. Let's put some distortion on. More distortion, yes. Okay, so I guess if I put a sequencer on there, we can have a little bit more of a play around with the sounds. It's... Oh, that's cool. Okay, so the beautiful thing that I'm noticing here is that when you hold down the key, it runs through the sequencer, but when you let go of the key, you get the tail of the reverb, which is a nice touch, actually. Let's turn these down a bit. Let's just try some lo-fi. Sample rate. Okay, that's a bit too mechanical sci-fi for me. Okay, so you can see. This has already answered my first question. Does it inspire me? Okay, so the sounds themselves, yeah, they're cool. But then when you start to play around with all these sequences and effects, it sounds really cool. Particularly like the hits. Okay, so I'm going to take off these chaps, go back to the main, turn down the macro. So let's just have a look at these menus a little bit more. So we've got these... Nice. So if I were to use this, I would probably just play this in. I'd probably press record. Something like that. And then I've got my track. my track started, admittedly. Let's just load this up. Piano roll, quantize. Okay, now let's go back to the instrument. And then I would probably want to start, doing this. And then this is my instrument here that starts the track. But then what do I do when I want to layer more sounds with this? Obviously, and that's where the RAM comes in. And as you see here, it's only 4.57 megabytes of RAM this is taking. So this is really lightweight, which is something that appeals to me greatly. So I could quite happily just load up tons and tons of instances of this without my computer, coughing and spluttering, which it does with some of the other beasts that I own. So what I would tend to do here is I would probably go, hey, bounce this in place, and then start mucking about with the audio there. So my next question to these guys would be like, do you supply the samples? Oh yes, there we go. There's a sample folder here. Now they don't, it appears, supply the performance tonal hits, which is a shame. But I presume they have them everywhere else. So okay, so that's good. That's good to know. So this approach is the way I would work with this. And I might then start to produce different types of samples with this instrument here, and then exporting them and bouncing them, within Logic. So yeah, I'm going to move on now. Performance tonal hits. That seems pretty fun and pretty straightforward. Don't save instruments. Okay, so this is to me saying, okay, we've got the tonal hits and stuff. Now let's make some other interesting elements, and and this is where the trailer element comes in. So we've got analog tones, bass and brass tones, the guitar elements, harsh tones, lead sustain, mixed bram, morphed synths, odd tones, rhythmic, sirens, trailer analog plugs, trailer pads, trailer pianos. Trailer pianos. This intrigues me a lot. Nice, that's actually a decent sounding piano. So I'm looking for my sustain pedal. I've got one of those old keyboard ones, not the cool piano ones. And it always gets tucked behind my desk. Here we go. Cool beans. Oh. Do you hear that? So sustain leaves you with those long, almost sine-like tones. Okay, that's good to know. So if I played some, where am I? Okay, that's good. It doesn't build up too much, as far as I can hear. Anyway, maybe down this end. No, it's just adding to the richness of the sound, which is cool. Okay, let's put some reverb on it. Oops. Okay, so this to me is already sounding like a nice trailer intro. Yeah, awesome. I really like that. I think that sounds really nice. What's this Ghost? Really replace, yes, Ghost Shadow. Okay. Kind of sounds like a guitar. So So the nice thing is here, you know, I wouldn't necessarily have expected a trailer library to supply me with a really nice sounding piano, which has that already has the atmosphere to it that I look to create with a piano sample anyway. And then obviously they've got these sequences. Okay, now this is... Okay, that's going to be some kind of arpeggiator down there. And I think this controls pitch. Yeah. Okay, so we can have these running. Okay, that's random. Let's clear that. We don't want that. We can have these running, so... Oh, that's why. Okay, so it combines the sequencer. So you've got the step sequencer and then you've got this arpeggiator, which is quite nice, actually. Oh, that's cool. So let's just... sorry, guys. I just want to exactly know how this is working. So... Okay, so that does that. And then if I do this... And so I presume it would repeat it a third time. Yep, and then if I leave that, it will go diddly, 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 gap, diddly. Cool, okay. So what happens now if I do this? Should go... Okay, so you can just choose one single note here, and that's going up from the octave to the fifth, and then to the fourth. Oh, that's quite cool. Ah, so if I switch this down to eighth, this is actually quite an interesting way to add in interesting patterns as kind of like a creative tool. Just to add in another note. Okay, so it plays the arpeggio when you've got several notes. Cool. Admittedly, I don't think I would ever use that. I mean, it's quite a cool function for an inspiring tool, but I would rather just create the sounds myself, personally. Okay, so that's cool. Let's get out of trailer pianos. Let's look at trailer pads, shall we? Oh, okay. Ah, yes, I see this problem. I had this problem when I first loaded it up. I was like, where are the samples? Because I haven't selected one. So we can load two samples at the same time, I presume. This one's not coming through. Am I missing something? Probably, knowing me. Volume, tune pan, macro text, okay, rate, sequence of B. Do I need to press a key down here? Yeah, I think that's probably one thing I would say to them. It's not entirely clear what are the clickable elements. Because there's... Oh. Ah, there we go. There's your fader. So there we go. So it would actually be more interesting, more good, mate, more helpful if they had made this fader more obvious, because it blends in quite a lot. So let's oh, I see. You can't have the same. Oh, obviously, it makes sense. Let's have. Is that right? Oh yeah, Cinepad is super quiet. So let's turn Cine. That's a swelling one. Ooh. Okay. Okay. Let's put on a sequencer. Okay, that's getting a bit too dancey for me. Okay, let's try. Ooh, random pan. So this is what I tend to do. I get excited and then I just start pressing everything. Okay, cool. So the nice thing is here is they're giving you quite like Spectrasonics Omnisphere. They give you these samples, which in themselves are good, but then they give you enough scope to change it and make it your own, which is so important. You know, let's turn the sequencer off. Let's lower the. There we go. Yeah, they give you enough scope to make it sound different, which I like, as I've already said. So let's carry on. Let's look at these trailer analog plucks. Oh, there's quite a few of these. Let's just have a look at this one. Oh, I like this already. So this would be a nice one to use as like a run up to a big hit into maybe Act 2. Yeah, something like that. No, drive makes it sound horrible. Filter. Well, there we go. See, that's the magic. And there's your build. Nice. Yeah, I like that a lot. That sounds cool. So with this one, again, it's the same thing as the piano. You've got your sequencer for... where's my note gone? There we go. Sequencing the patch. And then this one's to do the kind of like bonkers random arpeggio, which is quite cool. Yeah, you've still got your attack, your ADSR envelopes too. Let's see if I can switch. Oh, nice. Let's... turning the filter off. Bit farty. See, I like that. And then if we were to turn the sequencer on. Cool. Doesn't seem to be affecting it. Doesn't seem to be doing it every time, does it? No. Oh, that's random. It's only stuff off. I turn the filter off. Yeah, no, that's weird. It's not affecting it every time. A little bug I should probably let them know about. So often when I just sit down and play the keyboard, it immediately starts making me think I'm writing a sort of a soundtrack to a 90s video game, which isn't a bad thing. It's just, especially this. This sounds like Double Dragon. Actually, it's probably a lot faster. Some new wave for you. Yeah, these are quite cool. Again, I'm not sure how frequently I would use... Oh. Again, it would come to me getting these effects out a lot more. See, there we go. I would start to use the effects a lot on these to get the most out of these patches, and that's why I guess they have done these to make it really useful. Let's have a listen to some of these Sirens. Oh yeah, classic. Don't forget to load the patch. Sirens are one of those contentious issues for me. I'm not a huge fan of them. Oh, didn't work like that. Oh, okay. Oh my goodness. Well, that's quite cool, actually. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. I am a huge fan of Sirens. I'm a huge fan of my own Sirens. See, I would just get my cello out and play badly, and it would sound like that. So yeah, I think they're quite cool, actually. I like that when you play it softly, it kind of cuts off the frequencies. Nice. More distortion. Oh, that is... Okay, so maybe they've changed my mind. Maybe I love that. That sounds great. Oh, see, this is the thing when you find a sound and it inspires you. And we already know that this is low RAM. I mean, look at that, 120 kilobytes. This is teeny. That's not a nice idea. Don't do that, Rage. Oh, let's have a play with this delay. So I'd like a quarter note delay, please. A bit Okay, drum. Oh, a bit of dub delay. Yeah, that sounds great. I want to go see what else they've got down here. Let's go to Morph Spread 16. Oh, that's horrible. I like it. So yeah, actually I can see myself having a lot of fun with these. So the thing I often find is useful is... let's turn that down, that is brutal. There's a sound that I don't like in one octave. I can guarantee I would probably like it very low down. Yes. Let's try it even lower. Does it go lower? Oh, it does go lower. I mean, that sounds wicked. That sounds like a double bass. Okay, let's see. Now they've got my attention. This is the business. Put a bit of filter cut off on. Yeah, that sounds fantastic to me. These sounds are a lot of fun to play with, mostly because of this effects setup they've got here. You know, as I said, the sounds themselves are cool, but then when you start to have a play with the effects, that is when it's super sweet. Right, let's just check. Is this in... Yep, will it change if I go 180? It does, so it is synced with the host tempo, which is cool. Okay, right. Again, you've got down here, you've got the key switches. So if you want to... Which is quite cool, but the thing you've got to listen to is how it's all sticking together. And you've got kind of like a roomy effect going on, which sometimes happen when you sort of pitch shift stuff. So I would probably try and find that sound with an EQ. Okay, let's turn this off. Yeah, I'm getting very distracted by this, as you can tell. So the nice thing here is you've got this with the right hand. I've got this whole mix of samples, sampled waveforms, right? So I could do so you could do all these lovely, that wasn't admittedly that lovely, but you got the gist of it. You can switch up the keys, staying in the same key, or you can switch up the key but change up the tones that each one is playing. That's quite nice. I quite like it. I'm not going to play around with the effects on that one. Oh yes. Okay, this waveform in and of itself is the business. Like, I am in a dirty European club right now. Oh, there we go, little bug. So I can still see the waveform thing there. Okay, right, so let's put the sequencer on. To get some extra lovely information going on there. Okay, there we go. Yes, these sounds are pretty cool. I'm going to start to move more quickly through this because I realise I'm getting distracted on every sound, which I think is possibly a good thing. Let's check out these animal Brahms. This sounds like something I would be interested in. Yes, it definitely is. So you know when they're like, oh, you guys, I want a signature sound. There it is. Oh, that's cool. I like that. It would be cool if you could change the start point of the waveform file. That would be interesting. What's this? So there we go. That's that thing again, isn't it? I didn't even know what you can click on. Must be affecting the effects. Let's check out. I can't see any difference. Wet. Well, this is a new toy. Can I click on any of the other stuff? No, not like I can see. Okay, so that is one thing that these guys need to address, maybe, is making it absolutely clear as to what we can click on. Because I could have missed this wonderful. I guess this is like the big knob in the middle of damage, the smush one, which is basically a compressor. I know Native Instruments, what's it called, guitar driver thing, has the same thing. Yeah, I want to say, have I missed this on the other ones? Let's go back to these pulses on the Moogs. Have I missed it there? I have! Oh my goodness! Okay, yeah, that's a bit of a game changer. They should make more of that, I think. Unless you guys were thinking, Rich, why aren't you playing with the big knob? Oh, that sounds rude. Ready place, yes. Okay, let's load up a sample. So where are we? Morph synth deck. Classic. So if I turn the effects off, in fact, let's just turn all the effects on. Let's see. Whoa. Okay, I really do not know what that is. I probably should have read the manual, but I tend not to do that. Let's turn the reverb off. Okay, so it seems to be adding its own effects to it. Let's just turn all these effects off and see if I've got a reverb there, because seems to be like compressing it, putting it through some plate reverb or something, and smashing it all at once, which is great. I do love a versatile control. Let's go to Brahms. Yeah. Come on, Brahms. Okay, remember to select those files, Rich. Okay. So there's a lot of textural material here, which is really useful. You know, these Brahms, these morph synths, these odd... did I do the animal tones? These Sirens, these are all huge tones that you can have a lot of fun adding texture to your track, which I imagine is how I would use this as like a textural support. I mean, admittedly, I could quite happily write an entire track using just what I have here, and I probably will. But for this point in time, this is a great tool to pad out sounds, which I'm always looking for new textures, because, you know, that's what we're in this game for, because we are interested in sound. So let's check out these lead sustains. Poly dual leads, dual monosynth maker, bass synth maker, lead benders. Let's start with poly dual leads, shall we? Oh, there's that little quiet triangle guy. Okay, these are pretty brutal. Okay, so the problem I often have with this type of lead is the attack. I'm really low down. There we go. I mean, this is a really nice thing. Again, Omnisphere have nailed this with loading different samples at the same time, so you can really start to have some fun creating individual sounds. Okay, this 8th place is an absolute beast. Let's go for Mega City. Okay. Yeah, so the thing I would find with these, and I would be looking for, is how usable is this? And if this video has taught me anything, it's that I need to open up this effects patch and have a bit of fun to really get these sounds singing. Yes, that's cool already. I mean, see how I might turn the reverb off. Oh, it's that delay. It kind of sounds a bit like a spring reverb. Let's take it down to 8th, innit? Okay, so when you move the stereo, it ping-pongs it around. Yeah, again, it seems that this is the true tool here, this chain of effects. Still 5.8 megabytes. And if I was to start using these, I thought it was quite effective on the pads. I'm not so sure about the leads, how effective it is to have the two sounds at the same time. I guess it would depend on the sounds. Really replace, yes. Let's have a listen to these dual monosynth makers. Oh, it's that 8th place beast again. Cool. Yeah, that's a bit of a nice sound already. Yeah, again, these look like the same samples. Yeah, they are Death Saw. Monosynth. Let's go to these bass. I mean, that's quite cool. So is this off? 8th place cutoff. Oh, this seems to be affecting it differently in this one. This is like a filter cutoff with the layers. Okay, so that's a whole new... I guess this is why you have a play with these things. Whole new thing. This triangle affects the filter cutoff. So if I put that off, if I put 8th place there, but then we don't have anything there, so we'll put aggressive lead there. Oh, that's not working. Okay. Oh, this is see, a lot of fun. These little triangles are devious little fellas, aren't they? I wonder if that works the same with the pads. Does it do that with all the effects? Let's put them all on. Does this little... It does. Right, let's turn the filter off so we can hear it more clearly. It's less obvious if it affects other things aside from the filter. Still seem to be getting reverb. Yeah, so it seems to be that you can... This triangle gives you a filter cutoff from one level to the next. So if I take this off... I mean, that's pretty sweet. I quite like that. That's nice. Let's check out these lead benders, shall we? There's that beastie knob again. I guess these are designed to be bent. Filthy. Let's go loads at the same time. Sounds like a bit like an organ. Again, more textural information for your track. This is a very hybrid and sound design heavy instrument which is cool. If you were going for your... If you're keen on writing sound design based tracks and hybrid tracks, then I think this is definitely a fun tool to have. Harsh tones, so this sounds quite like the odd tones and harsh tones. You've got these, yeah, filthy sounds. Okay, they've got two things. Guitar elements all in one. I guess this is where it's keen. Yeah, it is. Okay. Chugging. I guess this is where the sequencer comes in. And then you can change the note. Cool. Okay, what's this individually mapped one? Ooh, there's loads of them. I guess... Oh, wait, I didn't... Yeah, there we go. So we have more samples. I have to be very thorough, don't I? Let's turn the sequencer off. Chug shots. I don't like the chugged sounds like that. Guitar... Long, heavy. Oh, that's good. Like that. Nice. So if I start in D minor. Cool. It's quite nice. Quite like these. Extreme bends. It's quite nice to play it like that, actually. It's this kind of like stuttering, glitchy. Sounds a bit TV score, which isn't a bad thing. It's just you'd have to be careful about how you used it in that way. But again, you could use it on your sound design cues just like that. Your, end of Act 2, start of Act 3. Yeah, quite a lot of fun. Bass and brass tones. I guess this is going to be blimey things. Let's have a listen. Ooh, bass hits. Surprisingly high. I mean, yes, the textures here are great. Cool beans, I like that. Is there... There's not anything I'm missing here, is there? I've got that knob pressed, yeah. Yeah, again, the effects combined with this chappy. These are great. Great textures, analog tones mapped, really replace. I don't use stuff like this much. Except for like this type of thing. And then even then, I have to be careful about how I use it. Don't like it when they kind of sound like polytone synths. You know, when there's when it's like playing it. It's kind of playing a chord with one key. I don't like it. That's probably the most useful one of that. Again, not a huge fan of these, but then there's tons of these analog tones, aren't there? Really replace. good to have some names here. Analog tone 16, you know. Kind of sounds like the dentist's chair. But I suppose the thing is, if you're going to be mapping out, you know, upwards of, how many, 20 times 6, upwards of 120 different synth tones, then, you know, the names aren't going to be that easy to come up with, original ones anyway. So again, this would probably be how I would treat these guys. Again, so it seems to me that the sounds, all the sounds, even the ones that I'm not particularly keen on, you just have a little fiddle with the instruments and the effects. And you've already, I mean, that. It's just too much wet. Perfect thriller track to me. And that's just the trailer elements. Oh man, I've got all these trailer impacts too. Distorted drums. Let's load up these guys, see what they sound like. Really replace? Yes, please. Distorted kit 1. Ooh. I always think you have to be careful with these. They're so tonal. And that's why they've applied the ability to pitch shift it. With sound design cues, these would be perfect. Let's load up. Good. Yeah, I think actually if you combined these, let's see this. If you combine the kicks and the snares together, let's see what this becomes. I actually think you would probably come up with quite a useful sounding filthy beat for your sound design cues. I think these would be more TV. I suppose if you were doing some hybrid dubstep track, then these would be really useful. Oops. Let's get back into distorted drums impacts. There we go. Let's load these guys up. See what we've got. And probably a ton of them. Yep, there we go. Hits. Yes. So these are useful. Well, for me. Also keen on the ones that sound like garbage bins being hit. But then I could probably go in here. Yeah, there we go. I'd probably just do that, wouldn't I? Yeah, it seems the beauty of this is that even if the sounds that you're not that keen on, you have enough control to really make something of, which is brilliant. Swish bangs and just bangs. Now, I'm not a huge fan of having swish bangs or swish hits, whatever you'd like to call them, in an instrument, because then I have to mess around with the delay of the samples and actually play it properly. And you know, I'm interested in saving myself time, and that's where I'll probably go into the samples, tonal hits, and then trailer hits. And I'd probably try and find the samples here. Oh, swish bangs. I can't see them there. Oh, it would be trailer impacts, wouldn't it? Swish bangs, there we go. And you've got all the samples there. And I would probably just drag that out. open the containing folder and then drag it into the project so that I didn't have to play it in, because I'm not a big fan of doing that. Let's close that. I think that, that's the end of performance tonal hits, trailer impacts, trailer tonal hits. Yeah, I mean, there we go. That is the run through of Pulsetter Sounds Detonator Rage instrument, which actually, when you start loading up the samples, you kind of, a lot of them aren't, I wouldn't say like, whoa, amazing, because I often get attracted to a very specific type of sound on these type of instruments, the ethereal pianos or really atmospheric sounds. So these like brutal sound design ones don't always jump out at me, but having these added controls, the sequences, the effects with their sequences just enables you to have a lot of control with your sound. And I would actually be very keen to put this into practice as an exercise, just to see how useful it and how easy it is to use. Because to be quite honest, as you saw, I was getting inspired by this. It's easy to use, with the exception of some of these guys aren't actually easy to see that you can actually change. I mean, I may have even missed some usability aspects here. I mean, so maybe they need to address that. Make it big and red. That's the advantage of these old school dials here, because you see them and you know immediately that you can use them. And even when that's off, this doesn't look like something I can click on. So aside from those minor issues, I think this is a great tool to be added to your arsenal as a trailer composer, especially if you like writing hybrids and sound design cues, because then you've got this added textures to support either your orchestral elements, or you've just got another arsenal of textures and sounds to make your sound design cues really leap out. And again, you've got enough stuff here to make it sound like your own and not just, oh, it's that sound from Detonator Rage. You can do it so everyone's going to be like, oh, how'd you do that sound? And you're like, well, funnily enough, I just turned the cutoff down and put some distortion on, and Bob's your uncle. Not that you sound like that, but anyway, enough of me blabbering. I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough and review of Detonator Rage. You can go to their website and get it. I believe it's on sale right now. If you like this video, click like. You want to hear more about writing for trailers and reviews of instruments and what it's like being a full-time composer, then subscribe to the channel. Thanks, guys.